You're listening to the Small and Supercharged podcast with Ria Freeman, episode 178. So on today's podcast, we are joined by Samantha Waring Brooke from, yes, you guessed it, the brand Waring Brooke. I'm really excited to have you here today, Samantha. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
So you have sprung onto the country, equestrian, rural scene fairly recently. But as with anything that's kind of that overnight success, it's never an overnight success. It takes years and flipping years. So can you take us right back to the start and tell us a bit about you and how you got into this line of work and this journey?
Yeah, of course. So I was at university and graduated with a knitwear design course. And I went down to London Graduate Fashion Week, where I was finalist for Innovative Knitwear of the Year. So Alberta Ferretti, who's a big designer in Italy, she was there. She was seeing who was the best. She didn't think I was the best, so I didn't win that award. But instead, she asked me to go and work for her in Italy. So I ended up working as her head knitwear designer in Italy straight after graduating.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a real push into the company, a push into the industry that was needed actually. So then when I left there, I then was the head knitwear designer for a company called Max Studio, which is a bit like, he's an American fashion mogul who, well, a bit like Philip Green of America. And wow. He had about 8 lines in his fashion brand. So I was there doing it all, working in his fast fashion industry, which I really, really, by the end of it, disliked. So then I started my own business, which was actually 5 years ago. It may seem like I've only just sprung out, but I've got it wrong massively at the beginning by trying to start a brand and making a lot of mistakes. But I'm here now.
I mean, that's awesome. And actually, maybe it's one of these kind of almost like a sliding door moment. If you had have won, would you have had the opportunity to go and work over in Italy?
Yeah, it was brilliant.
And that experience, because when you're at university, you learn very different things to when you're in the workplace, having to deal with the stuff that you've learned. So how was that?
It was a challenge, but I've done that before because I did a placement year. So I'm always ready and willing to learn and work. And I'm still learning now. Like, it doesn't change, does it? Life just carries on and throws curveballs all over the place, and you just have to go with it. So learning new things there was fine. I just got on and did it. And it was more about learning the technical side. And she wanted a lot more help with her fashion catwalk stuff, so that's what I did a lot of work with. But it was very good. I really enjoyed it. I didn't want to come back.
No, I mean, the food, the climate.
Dude, I'm living next to the sea. I would just cycle to the beach every day. It was fab.
So moving forward in time, Waring Brooke version 1.0. What did that look like?
It was women's wear, men's wear. So I came out with a whole women's wear collection and a men's wear collection, which, looking back, was a really bad idea, because now I know that you have to sort of focus on one, whereas I was just going almost like sticking it up and like going, wow, here it is, like it. But yeah, no, I got it totally wrong. Margins were completely wrong, so I really wasn't making any money, but you live and learn. And I also started with a girl, so me and Megan, who's a close friend of mine. She was my business partner at the time, but she had a baby when we first started. She thought it would be, well, we both thought it would be a bit easier than it was, and it wasn't. So she then, after I think it was about 6 months, realised that it was a bit difficult to do the two, to be a mum and have a brand new business. So she stepped away, and then I was left on my own. So I thought, right, I need to scale this right back. And instead of focusing on clothes, I have to do accessories, because that's what a one-man band can do. Scarves, snoods, headbands, and that was my focus then, because that's all I could do on my own.
So when you were doing women's wear and menswear, that was obviously knitwear as well.
Yes, always knitwear. That's my speciality.
What kind of led you to that in the first place? Obviously, I know you did a degree in it, but it's quite a narrow part of fashion, isn't it? I mean, awesome part. Love a bit of knitwear. I've actually got your snood and your head warmer that I tested for Countryside magazine. Flipping love it. Cannot wait to get that out again, because it hides all this root issue as well. Love it.
Yeah.
What kind of led you down that path initially?
Strangely enough, I did a fine art degree before my fashion degree.
Oh, wow.
So well, only half of it, because I got into the second year, at the end of the second year, and we were in this class, and it was what you could do with your degree. And I'm not joking when I said there was 2 points. It was something related to art, something not related to art. So literally at that point, I stood up and was like, I am not spending any more money on this course for something that's so vague. I was like, I want to be specific. So I went for a textile degree, actually. But the textile interview lady, she sat there and was like, well, actually, you're very knitwear. And so it was her that I put everything down to, who sat there and said, well, I can see you in the knitwear course. So I wouldn't be here if she hadn't said that. And then from then on, I realized that, you know, because I love creating, the fact that knitwear is like, you're not using a fabric and then manipulating it. You are creating your own fabric, which is just mind-blowing. I love it.
Because it's really cool to see how that kind of that first degree and actually what you then did and what you do now are so brilliantly linked, even if you wouldn't necessarily think at the time.
Yeah, no, well, I wouldn't think it now, but they are very, very similar, because art is it is very creative, and it's like a focus on the detail, and that's exactly what knitwear is. You are focusing on the knit, the purl, the lifted stitch, the double stitch, the jacquard, the twill. You are focusing on the tiny details and then making it all linked together. And that's exactly what happens with art. You start a project and you make it all link, which is the same. I suppose it is the same. I do miss painting.
Yeah.
But it kind of does correlate with what I'm doing now, because like with the drawing and the sketching and the designing, it is very similar. It's where art is, fashion is wearable art. So I feel like I'm still pursuing a career in art, just in the wearable one.
Yeah, definitely. Which is really cool. Rather than being on a wall, as you say, it's people are going out, living their lives, styling the rest of their outfits around the art that you create. That's really awesome.
Yeah, well, it's like my mum passed away last year, and she was an artist as well, and that's why I've taken some of her, because I've always said to her, her paintings were amazing, and I needed her to do some work with me. But so now I'm just taking her art pictures and then creating them into the knitwear that I am producing now. Like my boxing hair scarf is actually used from one of my mum's paintings.
No, I didn't realise that.
Yeah, and the cock and hen scarf, that's from a sketch from my mum's sketchbook. So I flick through my mum's sketchbooks and go through the house, because the house is like an artwork of my mum. So I just go around and just see which I like, and then just take it and extract it and put it onto the clothes.
That must be really lovely. I mean, obviously heartbreaking and awful.
Heartbreaking.
But it must be lovely in some ways to be able to see her very much alive on the pieces you create and other people loving them as much
Absolutely.
as you do.
Yeah, I think people really do love them, because they are part of my mum as well, because mum was loved by a lot of people. So she's dearly missed, and I think that people can buy her art on the clothes. I think it's really, really, well, it's really, really special and lovely for them. And for me, like, I love seeing people wear it. It really helps helps the pain.
No, absolutely. And it's blooming awful to have to go through that, full stop. But seeing other people, I imagine coming to your stand, particularly now we're allowed to go on out again, and coming up to something and going, wow, that's just awesome. Like, I need to have that. I need to wear that. I love it. Must really be amazing. Not just from the artwork that your mum's created, but from all your collection and the work you've put in there. So going back in time, I feel we're moving around, but I like that. But to keep everyone on their toes, me included. So you then went from men and women fashion wear from a knitwear point of view into accessories. So what did you start with, and what was the thought behind that? Was it accessories because you didn't have to have the depth of like stock and sizes, or what made you take that move?
So the accessories, because they were simpler to knit, because when you're programming, because I make everything, I draw it and then I program it on the knitting machine, and then I pop it on the knitting machine. I do all the sizes, I do everything, which is very difficult. That brings me to another point, actually. Instead of, when I first started, instead of buying one jumper and spending lots of money on that one jumper to get it at the right price point, instead I bought a knitting machine because I thought that'd be easy to program. But no, it's not. It's extremely difficult. It was probably one of the most difficult things I've ever had to do. But I did it in the end. I did it. It was very hard. So now I have the knitting machine. So when I did the women's wear and the men's wear collection, women's wear, you've got to do sizes, you've got to shape it. With the accessories, you have a simple shape, a simple linking, simple structure to get it together. And what I did was, instead of focusing on the design, I utilized the fact that I could program everything I wanted. So I made a personalized headband. And also I loved the idea that you can become part of my brand. You can, like Chanel is CC, Louis Vuitton is LV, Gucci's GG. Like you take your two initials and you become your own brand with that. So I thought that as well. I was like, I love this. And so instead of taking initial and like just stamping it on the bottom, like you become part of the fabric. So I focused on that, and that's what really hit the headlines, shall we say, and started pushing Waring Brooke forward. And I took that I realized that, you know what, this is something that people really want, and then started to develop it, and here I am now.
And it's really different as well, because I was kind of gifted this snood and the headband for a review in NFU Countryside magazine, and mine's obviously burgundy. And the RF is lovely in it, because although it's really cool, because I know it's my initials, it works really nicely as a pattern all the way that you do the initials, obviously been very carefully thought through to make it work on a couple of different levels.
Yeah, exactly. We make sure that everyone is patterned. So sometimes the way that we do the pattern by flipping it around and stuff, sometimes it doesn't work. So we have to edit it and make sure everyone looks like a really good geo pattern. So yeah, as I say, they're all completely unique.
And that's from an end user, from a consumer point of view, that is brilliant, because you know that what you've got is very, very special, and it has been made just for you. But from your point of view, is that a little bit of a nightmare, particularly on the run up to Christmas, or just generally? Yes. If you get busy, because you can't just go, okay, we've got 30 orders today, we can just get them packed and picked and move on. Everything's got a certain amount of time that has to be done at that time, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And well, that's why when we get orders, it's especially when it comes to Christmas and you have like a mass load of black and green runs, so you have to stick that on, but then you get an order for a red and a blue, and you think, oh right, okay, I can't quite get onto that until I've done these. So it is very hard. It is a nightmare, but that's why I have a girl called Frey who works with me now, and we both work like machines, especially at Christmas time. She's programming, knitting, I'm linking, unpacking, and we work as a complete team to get we make sure that we get the orders out within 3 days.
3 days.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, you can just buy something off the shelf from a an online retailer and not expect it to be dispatched within that time frame.
No, well, we program it, knit it, wash it, link it, press it, pack it. So
in 3 days.
In 3 days. Yeah, it's very, very taxing. You're like, when it comes to, well, December, November time, I know that we are not going to be sleeping. I am literally in the office 7 a.m. till at least 9 p.m. But it's fine. I enjoy it.
So you must love it though, because to put that amount of work and effort in. And what's the kind of biggest high that you kind of think, yeah, actually those 12-hour, 13, 14, 15-hour days are worth it?
I think it's when people say that they love wearing it, or if I see someone wearing it, a piece, and they obviously won't know who I am, but I see it and I'm like, and you can see your art being worn in every day. I think that's the high. Be it seeing your art in everyday life. That is it.
So did you start with the headbands and the snoods in the accessories line?
In the accessories, yes.
And that has grown since, hasn't it? So can you talk to us about how that's expanded from those headbands and snoods out to what you're doing now?
So obviously, because it's personalized, it's not great for wholesale.
Yeah.
It's impossible. So I realized that I needed to bring out a signature range, which was more of a so that was the signature, anything signature is not personalized.
Okay.
Which I have managed to get into some shops. So now I think I'm stocked in 10 shops over the UK, and that's why, with the horses as well, with the animals, it was more of taking my mum's drawings and then making them into the art themselves. So that's why they're on there. But the personalised I started with, that's grown with the scarves, and also the pinstripe is the new headband that's coming out, and that is also personalised, but it's not the pattern, because I think the pattern is so unique that can't be changed. So we've started with the hats, scarves. We started with the headbands, snoods, developed it into scarves, bobble hats, and there may be a pair of gloves on the way.
Ooh, spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. So it's just going through all the accessories, and also, like, it's personalised, so you know which is yours.
Yes.
Quite simply.
You do socks as well, don't you?
Yes, yeah, they are huge. They are doing really well, especially the Union Jack ones.
They are gorgeous. I love a Union Jack.
Yeah, I know they're really fab. It's annoyed me because it was my dad's design.
Right.
And he was totally right, and people love them.
Because you've just brought out, like, literally this morning, I think on Instagram, I've seen a new sock design. So can you tell us a bit about that?
That's for the Pink Ribbon Foundation. So I want to do more for charity. I mean, I do quite a bit for charity now with the homelessness, because we are knitwear, and in the winter when it's dark and cold, I make blankets for the homeless. So with the breast cancer, I want to give more back there. So we're taking the personalised sock that we do, we turned it pink, and we're donating £20 of each sale, which is pretty much all the profit, and we're donating that to charity. We're hoping to raise £1,000.
So have you got a limited run? Because this will be out in October, so they may have missed the boat, but that's okay. That's the beauty of the
no, they're out tomorrow. It's tomorrow that they're out.
And they're out for the whole, just thinking this will be out, the podcast will be out slightly later in October. And is there there is a limited number, isn't there?
There's 50 pairs. Yeah,
50. I think
that's all there was, because UK manufacturing has gone mad, and I've literally had to go to my local sock manufacturer and just buy him out of socks. And that's all I could get. So I'm hoping that we can dig deep and give plenty to charity.
definitely. I love that. I didn't realize that you made blankets as well. That's really cool.
Yeah. Well, that's another part to the business. I do something called Knit My Gift, because of all the personalised items. I really like, well, I've got dogs, and I knit dog jumpers with the personalised dog jumpers, and they at Christmas go crazy as well.
I did not know this. I feel like I did good research, but not good enough.
No, I'm quite well, I have lots of fingers in pies. So yeah, there's the Knit My Gift side, and that's got dog blankets, dog jumpers, baby blankets, wedding blankets, which is a new one, and anniversary blankets, Father's Day blankets. Yeah, I work with Not on the High Street for that, so
That's cool.
I sell through them. Yeah.
Now, obviously, you've said previously that you worked in Italy for a bit, but now you're very much UK based.
Mm-hmm.
Is it important to you to be UK based, UK made?
Yeah, huge, massive. That's one of my key factors of making, because my history is my family business is sustainability. So we take in wood waste, we turn it to biomass fuel, and then we power the power station, which is on site, which is literally just down there, past my office, because my office is on site as well, on the family site. And we put the fuel in there, the biomass fuel, into this power station, and then that powers the Midlands with electricity. So what we have is we generate energy and from waste. So that is a huge thing for me. And because I see how much waste we are producing as humans, I can tell you it's disgusting. The amount of plastic, the piles are massive. It's obscene. So when I started Waring Brooke, I wanted to make it sustainable. I didn't want all the freight bringing it over. I wanted to make it in Britain, and people know where they're getting it made, so they know that we're making it, and it's not mass produced. I'm not making things. I'm literally get an order, and I get the yarn and I make it. I don't hold stock in. It's all made to order. So yeah, because waste to me is just it's not a possibility.
Well, it's not good from an environmental point of view, but also from a business point of view, if you can cut down on the waste, because every bit of waste has got a price tag attached to it, hasn't it?
Yeah, there's an element of that too, but it's mostly the rubbish that we have. I could show you photos and you'd be shocked.
It is quite disturbing. I mean, you do hear things and read things about all aspects of sustainability and being more eco-friendly, but I think I haven't had the experience of looking at it like you have, but I imagine that that's quite a kind of, oh gosh, it's not just what we read in the newspapers. So thinking about your whole Waring Brooke journey, is there like a standout low? We're going to go high afterwards, so don't think, oh gosh, she's trying to bring the mood down here. We've had a lovely chat and she's ruined it.
I like talking about the lows because they are there and they are very important to growing the business. I can tell you I've had years worth of lows. They've been because when you're starting business, I started business being a designer, and so I sat and drew every day, and I thought that's what you needed to do to start a business. But I can tell you now, I design probably 2 weeks of the year, not much more than that, because there's no need to have a million designs. Like you're just wasting time, and time is money. So the lowest low, there's been loads. I've not been able to go out for dinner because I didn't have enough fuel in my car, or just having the pressure of knowing that you've got to sell, and I didn't know how, and then having to like tell people that everything's all right when it's not. But yeah, I think the first 2 years of business were just one whole low. And I had a mental breakdown, I think, and I had to have some time off because of the stress of it all. And then after that, I came. That's actually when I started the accessories after that, after the breakdown, because I realised I can't do everything.
No, definitely. But I mean, horrible thing to have to go through to kind of get to where you are now.
Yeah, you have to have the lows to have the highs. You really do. I think they've taught me that you don't take anything for granted, and you do not waste anything. That is key. You don't waste anything. Not a stamp.
No, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that completely. So moving from the lows straight up to the highs, what have been the kind of high points on your journey when you've thought, yes, this is it, I should be here, I'm doing this, I'm doing the right thing, I'm where I should be?
I think it's when I started getting into shops, and that was only this year. That was a massive high. When shops were contacting me, that was exciting, because I thought, oh, people like me, people want my stuff. And then another high has been Entrepreneur of the Year for the UK. I've been shortlisted as a finalist. That was an eye-opening experience as well, because I started from the beginning, and like the application process, you had to start from the beginning and realize where you went wrong. And so it was a bit like, oh, I see now, from going back and like noticing, I get where I went wrong. So that was a massive high, getting to be shortlisted. So I already feel like I've won that. I think the competition's in November, but I don't think I'll win. But I think even though that I've been shortlisted, I'm over the moon.
You never know, but also I think that I know how fierce that competition is. I have another client who's a shortlist. I'm going to say a winner, because I feel like they are winners very, very much, because it's a really fierce competition, and it's open to all industries all over the UK, isn't it? It's a big one. So being shortlisted is awesome.
Well, that's what I mean. I think it was out of 4,000 or 6,000. It was out of so many companies, and so many amazing companies as well. So I do feel very honoured.
Definitely. And well deserved, though, because you have worked incredibly hard. And I think we don't often see that as consumers. We look at the product and go, oh, that's really, really cool. They must have had a really good idea and did a bit of work, and then boom, it's here. But it's a journey. I remember quite a few months ago now, I spoke to James from Wilby's Bespoke, and he said one of the lows for him was he was at a show, completely forgotten which one now, and the van was stuck in the mud, and he was there trying to get it out. And you look at the beautiful bags and things that they create, and you think, oh wow, what a cool business. But it's not. That's like such a tiny amount of it.
Yeah.
It's the like rescuing your van from mud, or coming in when it's still dark and leaving when it's really dark. And have you found that social media's been a big thing for you, because your account is always really busy, really active?
There we are. I've see, that's what I really started with, was because shows, I'm not very good at shows, but I don't find them very easy. I get very tired, and when I first started, I started with shows, and I found them very, very taxing, especially for one person on their own. I could tell you quite a few stories about that. And it's just very depressing when you stood there and trying to sell your stuff, and people are picking up and saying, oh, it's just not quite long enough here, it's just, if it was an inch longer. I thought, all right, okay, fair enough. I've been here all day, blood, sweat and tears has gone into it. So then I started focusing on the social media, and so this was pre-COVID. I started to try and work it out, because I'm constantly learning, trying to figure out how Instagram works, how people do it. And I really started to understand it. And then COVID hit, and it literally, I was like prepared, because I was like, I know what's happening. I know that I'm selling more online, because I've been trying to, and I'm pushing the personalized, and you can't sell them at shows. So I know what I'm doing online. So with Instagram and Facebook, and now we're on to TikTok, we're trying to really crack that. But obviously it's very hard, because there's only two of us now, and there's a lot to do. as you say, not just taking an item off the shelf and sending it, we're making it.
But then that's great stuff to share on social, show the journey from order to what happens. And I've got a complete fascination with any of these videos or any content where it's how stuff's made. So if it's cakes, knitwear, I think it's just fascinating seeing the process. And I really love social for that, because rather than not really thinking about the process, you get to see it, which is just brilliant.
Well, the other day I was just ironing, because you have to stand and iron. That's part of being a business owner and having a brand. Like, I was stood ironing and I thought, I'll just put this on live and I'll just talk it through. So I did. I went on live and I was just ironing. I had to iron something about 100 headbands. So I was stood there ironing, just talking about ironing knitwear and how it is really important, and like how it changes the fibers, and then just chatting. And it was actually quite interesting. I couldn't believe that people were watching me iron, but it is fascinating seeing behind the scenes. And Frey does the linking as well, so she links online and you can watch the process, because that's a technique, that's a real technique, and a skill to have. So yeah.
So what can we expect in the future? You've mentioned there might be some gloves, which is exciting, and we'll definitely keep our eyes peeled. Is there anything else we can be looking out for over the next few months?
Yeah, there's quite a bit. I want everybody to be part of Waring Brooke. So there may be some competitions where people can get involved. And there's plenty more designs in the making. There's an exciting spring summer collection coming, but I don't bring out collections in one. I have drops with them. So
good shout. Good
shout. That's it's a bit more manageable for us, but also it keeps everything new and fresh. So yeah, you can keep your eyes open for those.
So anything else you'd like to share with us before I ask you all the places where we can find you online?
So if people want to sign up to the newsletter, that would be great. Then, because on the newsletters, what I do is I send out a bit more information. So if you want to know a little bit more about me, I send it out so you can have a look, and new things that are coming and competitions that are going to be launched. So if they want to sign up, they can just go on the website, and it'll be down at the bottom, or contact us. They can just sign up there.
Brilliant. And that's when, obviously, by the time this goes out, the socks, I'm sure the socks will go like day one, but if not, go and look, people, have a look, and see what's been going on. Can you tell us where people can find you online as well? So your social media handles and your website.
Our social media handles are very simple. It's just Waring Brooke. I say it Waring, but it looks like Waring, Waring, and Brooke with an E. So all social media handles are at Waring Brooke, all one word. And then our online site is www.waringbrooke.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been really, really lovely to chat to you.
And lovely to chat to you too. Thank you.